Hi, everybody. Welcome down the rabbit hole. If you can hear me and see me, let me know because I'm playing around again with my phone. So the last time I went live, my phone seemed to do a lot better than my computer, which is really sad. But my computer is plugged directly into the modem, and I swear we have the slowest internet ever. I've paid for the most expensive internet I can get, and it's hella expensive. And we still can't get fast internet here. So I guess we just live. I mean, it's worse than it was like living in India and Kuala Lumpur. So I don't know what to say about all of that. But I wanted to hop on today and just try to use my phone again to do another stream. It's going to be really fast. We're going to see if some things work. Oh, dear Lord. So I put up a video yesterday talking about Miranda Derick. Hi, Adriana. Yay. At least it's working somewhat. Hi, Allison. Good to see you. Hi, Adriana. I hope you're doing well. Okay, it's working. I want to share a video clip, and that's like something new for me on my phone. Hi, Mama Cat. So we'll see if that works or not. I'm going to talk a little bit about Miranda Derick, and then I'm going to skip into Gypsy for a bit, and my kids might come running in, and I might have to leave because my kids are going to be with me 24/7 for the next 3 months. So I just have to hop on when they're like really busy doing something, and I want to like get something off my chest. Okay. So yesterday I put up this video about Miranda Derick, and I was talking about how it really deeply concerns me that so many people all over social media are going after her. And I really question if like the documentarians feel okay with this, right? Like if I was in their position, I would feel really frustrated and sad that this is what came out of the documentary that I produced. You know, I would be really concerned about that. So I'm sort of taken aback that nobody's really spoken out about it. We do have, without a crystal ball, from what I can see, she's all over her Instagram and TikTok platforms, really pushing stuff, like really being like Miranda Derick and all of these people are not even like they're so absorbed in this cult that nothing they say on their social media is real, and we need to go after Robert and he needs to be arrested. So she's really the only one that I see speaking out profusely about all of this, and I'm kind of surprised no one has come forward and said like, please do not abuse Miranda online. Like, this is a bad way to handle all of this. Okay, let me see if I can bring up this video clip I tried to make. Oh, okay. So it's kind of small. All right, I can't even see it. Let's see if I can make it big. Just trying to figure this out. These are just people talking to me on my like YouTube, leaving some messages for me. But how can I see it? How can I make it bigger? Let's see if I can make this any bigger for myself. Like I said, I'm just figuring things out today. Take this down. Hi, Triple J. Hi, Groovy Canadian Chick. That's annoying because I can't really see it very well. But basically, a lot of people left comments on my video about Miranda, and they were all over the place. I would say it was like 50-50 of some people being supportive of what I was saying, you know, which is that I believe Miranda is really getting screwed over by this whole thing. Like, where's the love, peace, and harmony for her? And the other 50% of the comments were very much all about how people are angry at Miranda. They think she's an asshole based upon what they saw in the documentary. And I'm very disappointed in that. And I had a lot of people hopping on and saying, like, I think you missed the point of the documentary. I never once saw Melanie or her parents being negative towards Miranda. But to me, it's really about the perspective that the documentary decided to take. So, for example, when the first episode opens, we have Melanie and Miranda on a video clip, right? And the entire video clip is Miranda talking about what an amazing sister Melanie is. It's literally like, I love you because you're so great at cooking and you're such a good friend and you do everything right and everything about you is perfect, Melanie. And even just the setup of how they chose to incorporate the Wilkins into this documentary, like you can see from the beginning that the perspective is going to be that Miranda is basically a demon, is like demonized by the people who are making the documentary, right? And that Melanie is this amazing, wonderful, perfect, lovely sister. And Miranda really hurt her family by getting involved with these people. Whereas, like, here's the thing for me is I have kids, right? And my kids do and say a lot of things that are not like the most, I don't like them. I don't like what they're doing or saying. Like, for example, as they grow older, they're changing a lot. My kids don't want to snuggle as much. They don't want to be around me as much. I'm not as cool to them. You know, I don't approach them like, hey, you're hurting me by acting like I'm not the best mom in the world and I'm not the coolest and you don't want to spend all your time with me. That's really hurtful to me. I approach it like this is part of them growing up, and it's something that I have to accept and work with and find ways to still be like a positive part of their life. Like, I think most families who really care about their children, we all have to approach things like this in our lives. Now, Miranda's situation is much more intense. It's a much more intense situation, right? Like, I get that, you know, of course the family is more concerned about her, and yet still, like, their approach should not be like, do you see how much Miranda has hurt us? And that's really the way I feel that the production company chose to present this. Okay. And when I looked at it, when I looked at the documentary, I realized they're doing something very similar with Gypsy Rose Blanchard, right? There's a lot going on with her and everything that's happening. Renelle, hi Renelle, so good to see you. She says, it is ridiculous at how this docuseries has gotten people to go after specifically Miranda, and the ex-dancers are turning on each other. I agree. Like, these dancers should know what it's like to be involved in this church and how you get kind of like sucked into it. And instead of really having sympathy for the people who are still there, instead they're turning around and they're really going after each other. And I feel that's a shame as well. I'm very surprised by the turn the documentary has taken, the way that people are really going after these dancers on social media. So it makes me feel very sad. I wonder why Melanie and the Wilking parents haven't come forward and said, like, please don't attack Miranda or her husband, James. I also feel like there's a lot of ostracizing of James B dash, and that bothers me a lot too. You know, I do think that, you know, he's a Black man married to this white blonde woman, and instead of like, I just feel he's very silenced. He's really totally silenced in all of this. We've heard little to nothing from him. Thank you, Diesel girl. That's so sweet of you. Hi, Nikki. Good to see you, Diesel. That was really sweet. You don't have to do that though. I don't usually ask for those little stickers, but I really appreciate it. Okay, Lily says the parents and daughter do not want hate sent Miranda's way. Why haven't they spoken out about that publicly? Because I think they could make a really big deal about that, and, you know, people may be more responsive to it. I mean, I think what's actually happening is they love, and it's not just them, but like, especially Without a Crystal Ball, loves to say, no. The people who are, when you see a comment from Miranda, it's not from her, Robert's writing it. So go ahead and shit all over that. He runs their social media, so it's not about them. But we don't know that that's true. I do think that 7M Productions, as a production and PR team, probably like ghostwrite and help Miranda and James and everyone with what they put on their social media. And I think that's just normal when someone is out in Hollywood and they're being managed by somebody. Once again, I understand that there's another string where it all goes back to Shenectady Church. Like, I get it. Okay. But I'm just saying that some of these things are not as weird as the documentary wants to make us think they are. Nikki says they haven't spoken out and Miranda is being stalked, harassed, and bullied by KJ. For sure. I mean, to me, KJ is the main toxicity that's going on here. I don't really look at Miranda's parents like they're horrible parents, or Melanie that she's a horrible sister. I just think that they've really been supported in this idea that they need to take this extremely public, that they need to single out Miranda, that Miranda, I think they've also been supported in like, Miranda's a bitch to you guys. Like, I just really feel that they've been pushed to believe that, when in reality, it's sort of like Miranda is likely a person who is suffering a lot of pain. And the people that are involved in this group, all of them, James, all the people who are involved, like there's probably a lot of pain going on for them. And I don't understand the attacks. I don't get it. Adriana says KJ is banking off this like she does with any family with issues. 100%. We just saw Katie Joy go after Garrison Brown, and there was a huge backlash. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that people gave Katie Joy Without a Crystal Ball that backlash, because it needed to happen. I really very much believe in like freedom of speech and Katie Joy's right to talk about Robert Shin and whoever. But we as the public, we need to respond to it in a way that lets her know we don't like this. And I think with Garrison, it was like the most obvious situation we've had as of late with Katie Joy, where people really were like, no, absolutely not. We're not going to let it fly this way. And I'm so grateful that people spoke up at that point in time. Now I want to turn it around to what's going on with Gypsy Rose Blanchard, because here's where I think it like all ties into the fact that the media portrays what they want you to see. I'm seeing it now more than ever that I'm doing this YouTube channel, and especially since I went down the rabbit hole for Gypsy Rose Blanchard, because there's so much going on with Gypsy, and Katie Joy is very involved in it. The drama is just exceeding all expectations. And instead of addressing any of that in the mainstream media, they're just putting out all this lovey-dovey, like, look at this victim thriving when it comes to Gypsy. And I am like, cuckoo, cuckoo. It like drives me a little bit crazy, because I'm like, did you not notice that we have a real, like a very, I'm not saying that Gypsy isn't a Munchausen by proxy survivor, but we have a real Munchausen by proxy survivor, Adaptive Kate on TikTok, who says that she has been bullied and threatened by Gypsy Rose Blanchard and Christy Blanchard and Without a Crystal Ball. And she completely got rid of her social media to hide from them for a while, and left a note saying like, I cannot go up against Without a Crystal Ball. This is really frightening for me. And yet, like, that's not been picked up at all in the mainstream. I just watched Kaylin Lowry, Coffee Conversations or something like that, with Lindsay Crisley. It came up on my Instagram for some reason, and they were talking about Gypsy, and they were like, let that girl get her bank. And I'm like, well, of course, because you two are exactly the same way. You were on some kind of a show, you had a famous family, and then you took it to another level. Renelle says, if Gypsy is pregnant, how is she going to explain to her child, I lost the rest of it, where her grandmother is? Oh my God. I can't even imagine. Now, she says she's on birth control last time I heard. We do have a phone conversation. We literally have a message from Katie Joy Paulson saying that Gypsy and Christy told her that Lifetime was pushing Gypsy to get pregnant. They were like, look, if you want to have a good show and you want to make $1 billion, we need a baby. And I guess that's true, because I think a lot of haters will join in more when it comes to the show if they're watching Gypsy Rose have to be a mother, because I think a lot of us would be like, oh my God, like, we're really concerned about this. So it's unfortunate the way the media plays on us and the people that benefit and gain from it. I mean, look at what's going on. Katie Joy's made a lot of money. We have people like Gypsy making a lot of money, and they're not very good people. And they're singling out people who really should be gaining from their platform, like Adaptive Kate, who ended up leaving her platform behind because of Gypsy and all the stalking. Let me play a video for you of Gypsy and Ken going on and on their Instagram. Let's see if it works. Once again, I'm not sure how all of this works. Let me know if you can hear it.
Rumors and controversy. We actually did not see each other for the first time until after. So it was early April that we first saw each other.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell them the story. So the first time that Ken came to visit me in early April, it was our first time seeing each other again in 5 years. Mm-hmm. And so he has a Jeep. And so I'm riding the Jeep. He takes the top down, and we start jamming out to Cruel Summer. And I think that was like the first moment that like I felt like, oh my God, my heart is pounding so fast. I'm so in love with this man. It was like the scene of a movie. It was so romantic.
I love it. I'm just classic. Love Story is the best song. Love Story.
Are we going to renew the engagement?
Stay tuned. When are y'all having kids?
It's in God's timing.
What part of Louisiana are you from? Well, I'm not from Louisiana. I'm from Georgia originally. She's from Louisiana, from Golden Meadow. But she lives in Cutoff and I live in New Orleans. Can we see your tattoos? I mean, sure.
Yeah.
They're just so extremely immature. Really
You're not doing this very well. Okay.
There we go.
All right, we'll just keep it like that.
There we go.
So this was just part of their live on TikTok. People were sending them, I don't know what it's called over there, like stars or something, and they make money off of it, which is exactly what I was expecting. You know, I believe absolutely, and I think it was confirmed by the many voice messages that Katie Joy Paulson without a crystal ball sent to Adaptive Kate, that Gypsy is very interested in becoming a millionaire. And absolutely the people around her are going to be interested in that too. I have a long history of pointing out the toxic web of Christy Blanchard. If you're not aware, go back and take a look at it. But Christy has been at this for 5-6 years now, going all over social media, getting into toxic fights and scandals with so many different creators, pitting creator against creator, making friends, and then doing something awful to them, leaving them behind. So Christy has a long history of doing this, and she realized that it really built up this very weird fan base for the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. You had haters and fans and lovers, and then you had Gypsy from prison using one of the girls I talked about in my video. She used her to create a TikTok account. On that account, what would happen is people would ask questions, and then the girl would take that information to Gypsy in prison. Gypsy would answer the questions, and they would pay to get their questions answered. So she had already set up, she was already like scamming and moving and getting ready to get out and make a ton of money. It's been there all along. And it took a little while, like, to break it apart to really see what was going on, because a lot of it was happening in the shadows. And I truly believe that Christy Blanchard heavily contributed to Fancy Maselli going crazy, because I believe Fancy Maselli is a little bit crazy now. Just another troll says, Kate did a great interview the other night on Sir Morbid's channel. She told her whole story about Munchausen's by proxy and what went down with KJ. That's great. I need to watch that. I haven't seen it, and I look forward to watching it. You guys should check it out as well. Let's see this. Why? That's not what she needed. How in the world was that going to help her when she was left in prison? Yeah, I mean, they just want money. They wanted money. I mean, I think Gypsy thought one day she was going to get out, and she wanted money. And I absolutely believe that Christy Blanchard is of that ilk as well. Now, she did not, I want to separate, like, clearly Christy did not do what Dee Dee did. I believe Dee Dee did horrible things in her life. She was, you know, a scam artist. She was controlling. You know, there was a lot going on with Dee Dee. And, you know, Christy didn't do a lot of that. But I see some of the same components of the personality that Dee Dee had in Christy, unfortunately. I mean, we see her going around and trying to control and manipulate and do all kinds of things. It's amazing how well it's worked. And the main issue that I have is, why are TMZ and, you know, Good Morning America, all these places that talk about Gypsy, why don't they talk about what's really going on here? Well, we see it. We see it with Miranda Derick dancing for the devil. We see it with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You can see it in a lot of other stories. It's like they pick a lane and they stay in it. They want Gypsy to come on their show. They want to build her up and make a superstar out of her to generate money for themselves, which then generates money for Gypsy. Lifetime makes money. Gypsy makes money. Ken gets some of that. Cha-ching! Christy's over there pulling in. She's raking in the dough, not only for herself, but for her daughter, Mia Blanchard. Yeah, like, I really believe that although they wanted Ryan Anderson's help, to make this happen to ensure that Gypsy was able to get out, that she was able to show the parole board that she had a mature and stable man in her life that she was going to go live with. They needed his help. They also needed his help because his mother is really involved in financial planning. She's good at all that stuff. And she helped them create a trust in which the money could be funneled into. And then that way they really couldn't take the money away from Gypsy because she's talking about her crime. She got so much help from Ryan and that family, but they used him for what they needed. And then Christy was like, I'm not liking this because now Ryan gets to be on Gypsy's show all the time, and he's kind of becoming important to her, and I'm not the one with all the control, and our family isn't getting all the money. Now Ryan's gonna get some of it. So I think that she probably played into Gypsy finding Ryan disgusting. She was probably like, I don't know if he's the right one for you. Just you had such better chemistry with Ken. Oh, where is Ken? I heard that he doesn't have a fiance anymore, Gypsy. So I think that Ken is of their ilk. Ken is when you watch this video of them, they're so immature together. The two of them are 17-year-olds who haven't grown up. And we can say as much as we want that, well, what do you expect from Gypsy? But I'm expecting more at this point. I am. I don't expect her to be perfect. I really expect lies and manipulation from her. That's how she was raised. That's who Dee Dee was. So I expect that. But the way that she has really turned a corner and been who I'm going to hang with? It's going to be Christy and Katie Joy Paulson. Well, these are two of the most toxic people that have been involved in her story. They are what created a lot of the toxicity. Gypsy Rose, she did commit murder, but we were not seeing all this extra bullshit that was going on with Christy until Gypsy moved in with Christy. Do you get what I'm saying? For the first couple of months that she was staying with Ryan, we didn't see her all over TikTok going into people's streams and bullying them. The moment she moved in with Christy Blanchard, what happens? She starts showing up in the streams of Adaptive Kate, talking a bunch of shit about everyone, going after Fancy Maselli. Was calling, but I don't want to talk to them. Why? Because I'm doing something right now. Yeah, that's okay. I'll get it later. Laura B. I'll talk to you about it later. Thank you. Someone was calling me, so so it shut down my live stream. Okay. And then my son came up and was like, someone is calling you. All right, I'll just end it here so we can move on. But my point in all of this is how much the media is manipulating and controlling what we hear and what we see. Why is this not in the mainstream media? We have these voice messages. Number one, we have these voice messages of Without a Crystal Ball talking to Adaptive Kate and talking a bunch of shit, accusing Lifetime of trying to make Gypsy get pregnant. Why hasn't that been picked up by the mainstream media? That's a huge situation. Number two, when it comes to Miranda Derick, if you guys are not aware, we have all these screenshots. Go back and look at my video. We have all these screenshots of Without a Crystal Ball messaging Hannah Shin, messaging someone who she thinks is Hannah Shin and saying things like, do you have to get tested regularly for STIs and vaginal infections because your husband cheats on you so much, because your husband cheats on you so much? The point being, it's sick. These are sick and shocking things that have happened and nobody's talking about it. And it should change the way that people feel about, for example, the Dancing with the Devil documentary. Yeah, it should be put out there. It should be in the mainstream media. Do you know someone who heavily contributed to this documentary sent disgusting lewd texts to Hannah Shin about vaginal infections, like literally harassing the shit out of her? Like that should be, part of what we're talking about. And the fact that it isn't shows us that documentaries have their own perspective. Obviously, reality TV is going to take its own perspective, and that's as far as it's willing to go. They're not willing to lift up the curtain for the majority of the public out there. And so it's really hard to be, a creator, like, wanting to speak out about the truth of what I'm seeing, because I understand that I could get a lot more clicks and views going after Miranda. I see that. Like if I were to come on here and start exposing all the things that some of the other Instagrammers are talking about when it comes to Robert Shin, and if I were to talk about all that stuff, people like it because it goes along with the documentary, and so that's what they want to hear. There's also a lot of fans of Gypsy who really want to hear that I'm 100% in her corner. And then there's people that hate Gypsy who want to hear that I'm 100% with them. And I'm not. I want to be able to speak out about what's really going on here. I hope you guys can speak out like your own opinion. I want you to feel free to say, I believe some of this and not all of it. You don't have to be 100% behind anything. I was really grateful to hear that Fancy Maselli, she was taken to court by Gypsy. She drove up to Missouri. That was really interesting to watch. She drove all the way up to Missouri, and she showed up in court, and she just walked in without a lawyer and argued no jurisdiction, and the court agreed with her. They did not have jurisdiction, and that's wonderful. That's how it should be, and that's a win for Fancy. Now, it's absolutely fine for Gypsy and Christy Blanchard and the rest of the family to bring that lawsuit to Gypsy's home residence. And then, I think that Fancy believes she'll win it anyway. But they have a right to go to Fancy's home state and do the lawsuit against her there and take out a restraining order there. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. But I'm glad that she was able to get out for jurisdiction. It's not right. They were trying to screw her over by forcing her to come to Missouri. They knew that would be like a hard thing for her. And the judge, didn't let them get away with it. And I think that's awesome. Christine says, yeah, I think Krusty is driving the bus. Actually, I very much agree with this. I don't believe that. I think Gypsy will go any way that Christy directs her at this point in time. Now, she's willing to get in a fight with Christy and go a different direction because she's pretty hard-headed. I will say that Ken and Gypsy together are like Bonnie and Clyde in that I think they don't give a fuck about anyone. That's the feeling I get. Why are they so desperate to shut Fancy down is my question. Yeah, I don't really get it because here's the thing. I don't really like Fancy very much. I've spoken out about this. I think that she's hypocritical. She sent me a cease and desist and talking about her. And then she freaked out when she got a cease and desist, and she's all about freedom of speech. So I have some issues with that. I also think that Fancy is someone who, although she has really good information and it's good to listen to her and see what she has to say, I also think she is never willing to bend. Like, you cannot disagree with her even an ounce. She will literally shut you down. She won't let you speak. And I don't like that. I don't think it's right. I don't think she's right about everything. I don't think she's an expert on everything. And, there are things that I think are good to get from her, but you also have to be of the mindset of wait a minute, let me question some of this. Where is she coming from? What's her perspective? Because obviously her perspective is that she wants to take down this family and expose that she believes there was no Munchausen's by proxy. And that services her because the family really threw her overboard. Okay. So while I believe that Fancy does have good information, she brings up good points, and there are a lot of people out there that love her, I see a lot of problems. I see some problematic stuff going on with Fancy. So yeah, I think the issue for me, one of the things is, why would they sue Fancy right now? Oh man. Okay. Why would they sue Fancy right now? That's the issue that I have. Right now at this moment, right before their show comes out, it actually seemed to me like it would bring a lot of attention to Fancy. And I've said this before. I was almost like, are they still working together? I don't believe this, but there's a part of me that's like, is the point of all this that they've realized we need to have someone who's like kind of our enemy and we fight with them. And that's what brings in all the views and all the people really interested and the haters and the lovers. And like, we have to have someone that we have we have to have an adversarial relationship with someone. And it's great if they're like big and loud and they're throwing a fit about everything, because then we look a little less crazy. I really sometimes wonder if it isn't a game that everyone is playing with all of us. Tax max facts. I'm so beyond angry I could throw up with everything I'm seeing in this whole situation involving KJ. I've started so many comments in my notes app. I never do. I want to be something KJ. So I hear that you're really upset. I know it is really hard to watch Katie Joy get away with a lot of stuff. It's also very hard. I know a lot of us. Kathy, I told you to stop. Kathy. You guys, Kathy has done this before for me. You are so kind. Kathy, I'm going to turn off the super stickers as soon as I find out how. Because that's one problem, is that I can't figure it out. You don't have to do that, Kathy. Dear Lord, thank you. I need to pay you back. So yeah, my whole thing about it is like, I do really wonder what's going on. Why would they sue her right before like the show comes out? Because to me, that brings attention to her. But like I said, it would be good to bring attention to her if they want that kind of adversarial relationship and they want people to like join into watching because they're hate watching. Do you get what I'm saying? And what the end result is that they make money. And isn't that kind of what this is all about? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. There's been many times in the last year where I've needed some money. So if you told me that like fighting with like, I'll pick Nikki or Renelle, fighting with them online was going to make me a lot of money, I might be like, yeah, let's do this. Hi, Koi. Hi, Keisha. That's so sweet, Keisha. Allow people to bless me. Yeah, that's nice. So, thank you, Kathy. That's really kind of you that you've done that a couple of times now. I just have a lot of questions about all this. I do have a lot of turmoil in my heart because this past week, oh my God, my daughter graduated from elementary school. If you guys follow me, I know I have a few of you that follow me on my private social media. You saw like a lot of pictures and stuff like that. I'm so proud of her. We had a great time at her graduation. I made a big slideshow for it, which I had all the parents like crying, which I was crying too. Yeah, it was a lot. It was good to see my kids do so well this year. We just got back to the United States and I think they did an amazing job adapting. It's actually me that struggled to adapt. I really have. But my kids are doing great and we're going to be here for another year. I know I told you guys I wasn't sure, but now I'm sure I'm going to be here for at least another year. After that, it looks like we may be heading to Hyderabad, India. Not sure yet. Not 100% sure, but you know, I'm grateful that I get to be back in the United States for this period of time, even though it's been hard to adapt to it. It's nice to have so much access to so many things that I didn't have in all the other countries that we've been in. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop. Hi, Ivana. Oh my God, Ivana, I forgot to text you. I'm sorry, Ivana. I meant to text you and there was just a lot going on. I apologize. That was my bad. And also, I wasn't sure if this was going to work or not. But I really just wanted to hop on and share some of the feelings I have about the manipulation that's going on. I didn't get to read a lot of the comments I got, but there were definitely a lot of people under my Miranda video being like, you missed the whole point of the documentary. And I'm like, no, I got the point of the documentary. I'm asking like more complicated questions about what's going on here. And my focus is like, why are we trying to tear down these dancers who are allegedly victims of being in a cult? I haven't seen that. If you've seen that with other documentaries, let me know, because I didn't see it with, we just had like, there's so many documentaries that have recently come out, not just Shiny Happy People, but I didn't see people going after the victims after that. I think the focus of the documentary really kind of put people in a position where they, it's like they sort of set it up for everyone to be like, oh, poor Melanie. Oh, Melanie. I don't feel that way. I mean, I do feel like a sense of sadness. I'm just looking at it from this perspective of being a mom. Okay, I really want to say that if one of my children, if Miranda was one of my children, my whole focus would be like, is she okay? My focus would not be like, I didn't get to go to her wedding. I didn't get to feel the love and the hugs and the kisses and the appreciation as a mom. I literally would be shoving that down to be like, I need to help my child. What is the best way for me to help my child? What is the best way for me to ensure that every day of her life is as positive as possible? You know, I mean, I would not be going on documentaries and talking about like how hard it's been for me that my child didn't show up for my 60th anniversary with my husband. That would be the last thing on my mind. I think that Miranda, oh, someone's messaging me about my baby, my nephew, who's so adorable. But yeah, I think that Miranda probably deals with some sadness, some loneliness, some inability to, like, some feelings that conflict, that are constantly conflicting. I think that there's probably a lot going on with her that's been very hard, and I'm willing to bet you that it has gotten significantly worse since her family came out in the public and started focusing so much on her. That's a problem to me. I expect my children to grow up and have a lot of disagreements with me. I expect my children to grow up and go do things that I wasn't really expecting, like move to a different area I wasn't expecting them to move to. You know, it might even be like that they grow up and instead of moving out, they stay with me forever. You know, I expect the unexpected, and my plan is just to do everything I can to support them no matter what decisions they make. That's my plan for my children. So when I see all this pain coming from Miranda's family, I sort of feel like, but aren't you creating a lot of that by your expectations that this person was supposed to service you for their entire life? That Miranda was supposed to be Melanie's sidekick for the rest of her life. That Miranda was supposed to be like butt buddies with her mom for the rest of her life. You know, I understand some families operate that way and it's beautiful. I have some families that I know it's like awesome how close they are. But some people don't live that way. Some kids grow up and they want to live differently. They want to do things in a different way. And I truly believe however hard it would be, I would support it. Because my kid's life isn't for me. They're not living for me. They should be living for themselves. And Gypsy's a jerk. So that's what I have to say. I'm breaking up. Oh, dear Lord, Ivana. I thought this would be better. It could be because someone keeps texting me. I don't know how to turn all of that off. I like what Kathy says. She said thousands of wonderful. Yeah, people keep texting me. Read this super chat. Okay. Thousands of wonderful people are in cults and groups. I totally agree with that. They're not the only ones. Nikki, I don't see. I can't see it. Let me see. Oh, shut up. We love you. Nikki, you're so sweet. You're the best. I can't figure out how to use StreamYard, so I didn't even see that. You guys are all the best. I love you so much. I gotta go. I just took a break from my kids, but they'll need me now. And I hope all of you are getting ready to survive summer. I'm excited to be with my kids, but I'm also worried about it. 24/7. I had such a break this year. I was able to do a lot of different things, and now I'll be with them all the time. So much love to you guys, and I'll see you all soon again.